The series begins with a remarkable woman named Miran, who worked as a lawyer and was highly accomplished in various areas. She was fiercely independent, physically strong, and always spoke the truth. However, Miran was not fond of men and never fell in love because she found them untrustworthy. Even though she was a strong-willed woman, she was notorious for breaking men's hearts. She would give them hope, make them feel special, and then vanish into thin air, leaving them heartbroken. She had a reputation for being a player, but she only sought out men who had hurt her in the past, and she called it punishment. One day, Miran was at a resort to handle a legal case, and there she met Nam Kang-ho, a renowned actor known as the master of kissing and the king of K-dramas. Despite being a beloved superstar, Kang-ho did not like women. However, this was not because of a lack of interest in them but because he had a different perspective on women altogether. At that time, Miran overheard a conversation between Kang-ho and his manager in which he expressed his belief that women were only interested in wealth and status rather than love. She was deeply offended by his words, but she managed to control her anger and left the scene. Later, Miran went out for dinner with her best friend, Shin Na-yoon, who was a flight attendant and a big fan of Kang-ho. However, Na-yoon was disappointed to hear about his views on women, and Miran advised her not to fall in love too easily, especially with handsome men who were known to play with women's feelings. Miran believed that men only saw women as objects of desire and ownership. During their dinner, Song-ho, the founder of the law firm where Miran worked, joined them. So, Na-yoon had once gone on a date with Song-ho, but it had not gone well due to her preference for handsome men. As they reminisced and held hands, a woman suddenly appeared, claiming to be his girlfriend for the past 7 years. This meant that he had been cheating on Na-yoon. At that time, Miran was taken aback by this revelation and felt guilty for introducing Na-yoon to Song-ho. When his girlfriend blamed Na-yoon for the affair, Miran became furious and was on the verge of attacking Song-ho. After this incident, Miran lost all faith in men and decided that she would rather lose her job than have anything to do with Song-ho. This was a difficult decision for her, as she had just moved into a new apartment with Na-yoon and needed the money. The scene shifts to Choi Soo-jin, who is an actress that has been acting for a long time. She wants to divorce her husband, but she is tired of male lawyers not understanding what she wants. So she asks Gilmoo Law Firm to hire a female lawyer to handle her case. The law firm doesn't really want to do it, but they agree because Soo-jin is a VIP client. On the other hand, Miran applies for the job and is accepted as the only female lawyer at the Gilmoo Law Firm. But when she goes for the interview, she sees Kang-ho and accidentally drops him on his feet in front of everyone. She is still very annoyed with him because of something that happened between them before. It turned out that Miran has to work with her ex-boyfriend Lee Jin-so at the law firm. They broke up because they both cheated on each other. However, she is professional and doesn't let their past affect her work. But actually, Jin-so still has feelings for her, but he knows it's over between them. Meanwhile, Kang-ho is filming a kiss scene with a rookie actress named Hwang Ji-hae. She is very spoiled and causes problems on the set. However, he doesn't like her because she reminds him of annoying women he has met before. After filming the kiss scene, Kang-ho went to rinse his mouth but ended up vomiting. Little did he know that Ji-hae saw him from a distance. Feeling unappreciated, she came up with a plan to spread rumors about Kang-ho's attraction problem with women. At a party thrown by Gilmoo and Dowon Entertainment, Miran accepted the challenge to sing a silly song in front of everyone. It was during this party that she finally met Kang-ho, who thought of her as a strange woman. He then asked her about tripping him up earlier. Miran initially denied it but later admitted to it after realizing Kang-ho's position as a VIP client at Gilmoo Law Firm. She was then forced to pretend to be his biggest fan and claim that she tripped him because he wanted to touch her. After the party, Miran accidentally got into Kang-ho's car and fell asleep in the backseat. She was shocked and quickly left when Kang-ho and his assistant arrived at their destination. She later followed him and saw him meeting a young girl in front of his house. She was surprised to see them embracing passionately, which made her realize that Kang-ho keeps and cares for underage girls. At that moment, Miran was convinced that the public needed to know about Kang-ho's vices, so she decided to become his lawyer and expose him. One day, she saw Kang-ho's fan club causing trouble and went to help him out. She spoke to them patiently and convinced them to let her represent him as his attorney. She even asked his manager and best friend, Won-jun, if he could help Kang-ho by being both a lawyer and a bodyguard. However, Won-jun was skeptical, but Miran proved her extraordinary fighting skills to him to convince him otherwise. However, she got carried away and almost broke Kang-ho's hand, making Won-jun angry and forcing her to leave immediately. But she didn't give up. She overheard Kang-ho's conversation with his sick assistant and offered to drive him home. Suddenly, Kang-ho accepted her offer and Miran took him to a narrow street, hoping to cause trouble and scratch her car. However, she proved to be an excellent driver and he realized that he needed someone as multi-talented as Miran in his life. At that time, Kang-ho was so sure that Miran liked him, but he didn't know that she had hidden motives. There, she was finally accepted as Kang-ho's personal lawyer and she planned to dig up information to destroy him. On the other hand, Kang-ho was tired of romantic dramas and wanted to try action movies. Suddenly, a well-known director shared an action movie script with him, but the female lead had yet to be announced. There, Kang-ho agreed to the role, but the action director thought his fighting style was too sporty and wanted him to look like a wild thug. Then, he decided to hire Miran as a mentor since she was known for her fighting skills. Shortly after, Miran received a call from Kang-ho and turned on her voice recorder in case he harassed her. She planned to catch him in the act, but she was surprised when he offered her a job. She thought it was a great opportunity to beat him up and get paid for it. There, Kang-ho was impressed with her thoroughness when preparing the contract and appreciated her honesty. He felt guilty for being rude to her and always thinking negatively about her. Meanwhile, Miran is feeling overjoyed as Kang-ho seems to be falling into her trap. This time, she wants to discover the true identity of the young girl that he is hiding. On the other hand, Soo-jin, a veteran star, is in the midst of divorce proceedings due to her husband's infidelity. But rumors are circulating that it was actually Soo-jin who left her husband for another man. Despite her efforts to keep the identity of the woman who stole her husband a secret, she is being ostracized by her celebrity friends due to false rumors. However, as a lawyer, Miran is determined to help her and they become good friends. Meanwhile, rising starlet Se-na is facing her own set of problems after breaking up with her wealthy boyfriend who didn't value her. In the past, she had a relationship with Kang-ho, but she ended it when her career was in jeopardy. At that time, Se-na and her manager accused Kang-ho of stalking her in order to avoid any rumors of them dating. Unfortunately, fans tend to disapprove of their idols dating ordinary people. This was a low point in Kang-ho's life, as he no longer trusted women, not even his own mother who left his father after he went bankrupt. Kang-ho believed that Se-na was the right woman for him and was faithful to him. However, being dumped just like his father made it difficult for him to trust anyone. One June, his best friend, couldn't bear to see him hurt and advised him to seek revenge by becoming a famous actor. In a twist of fate, Se-na was cast as the female lead in the same action film as Kang-ho. Even though the director had already selected her for the role, she only agreed to take it after learning that Kang-ho would be her co-star. This was a clear indication that she still harbored feelings for him. In fact, she never really wanted to part ways with him, but she had to do so in order to further her career at the time. The next day, Miran and Kang-ho held their first martial arts class together, but during their practice session, she beat him to the point of fainting. Afterwards, she went through his phone and found a contact named Putri, which made her suspicious that Kang-ho had disturbing fantasies about underage girls. However, her suspicions were put to rest when a young girl, who she suspected was Kang-ho's object of desire, turned out to be his beloved niece. Then, his assistant explained everything to Miran, leaving her feeling guilty for her previous assumptions. Despite her guilt, Miran chose not to practice martial arts anymore. On the other hand, Kang-ho, unable to bear seeing her like that, invited her to dinner to celebrate her birthday, which he had inadvertently caused her to work on. During dinner, Miran shared the reason why she learned martial arts, to take revenge on an old man who used to bully girls in her neighborhood when she was younger. Though her father had told her to stay away from him, she persevered and trained in martial arts for a year to eventually confront the man. She admits to enjoying punishing bad men, and Kang-ho was fascinated by her unique personality. In the end, Kang-ho realizes that Miran is not the person he had initially suspected her to be, and that she is a woman of rare qualities that he had never encountered before. After finishing dinner, Kang-ho was feeling very generous and decided to offer a hug to Miran as a fan service since he believed she was a big fan of his. However, he was surprised that he didn't feel anything when he hugged her, despite usually being nervous around women. This made him want to kiss her to ensure that she was the right woman for him. Initially, Miran was shocked when Kang-ho tried to kiss her, but she eventually kissed him back. However, Kang-ho pushed her away and claimed it was all just fan service. She was left feeling humiliated and hurt because she realized that she had been played with. She angrily explained that she didn't like Kang-ho and had purposely tripped him the other day because she hated him. Sadly, he was disappointed because he couldn't find a suitable woman to fill the void in his heart, and thus their relationship ended. To make matters worse, news started spreading that Kang-ho had attraction problems and was seen as a homosexual, all thanks to Ji-hae, who wanted to ruin Kang-ho's career as a romantic drama king. However, Se-na knew the truth and wanted to help him by publicly admitting their relationship to stop the scandal. Unfortunately, Kang-ho refused this offer even though it could have been a good solution. At the same time, a reporter had a photo of Kang-ho and Miran kissing and was planning to publish it. One Jun thought that it was a good idea for the two of them to date for real, as he wanted his friend to find love again. Then, he made a deal with Miran to fake a relationship with Kang-ho, even though he secretly hoped that they would actually fall for each other. Hearing that, Miran agreed because she was promised a large sum of money and wanted to get back at Kang-ho for playing with her feelings. He also agreed because he wanted to turn her hatred into love. Despite Ji-hae's efforts to bring Kang-ho down, her plan failed, and she was left to deal with the consequences of spreading fake news. Meanwhile, Na-yoon discovered that her best friend was involved in a fake dating contract and was upset that her friend's pride was being compromised for money. money. She sought out Wonjun, who she found very attractive, and expressed her concerns that the contract made her friend look like she was selling herself for 100 million won. Initially, Wonjun thought that Na-yoon was trying to extort more money out of him to keep the contract confidential. However, he realized that Na-yoon genuinely cared about her friend and apologized for his mistake. He was only doing all of this to help Kang-ho not feel lonely after dating Miran and hoped that the two would actually fall in love. Wonjun may not have known Miran for a long time, but he has a strong belief that she is a good person who is suitable for his best friend. He feels happy to know that Miran has a friend as good as Na-yoon. There, Na-yoon is impressed by Wonjun's care for his friend and her heart beats faster for him. She falls in love with him instantly. In the end, she decides to keep their arrangement a secret and supports Wonjun's plan to set up her best friend. The following day, Miran and Kang-ho are pretending to be in a relationship, trying to catch each other's attention and see who will fall first. There, she wants to prove that she can make Kang-ho fall in love with her and toy with his emotions, while he wants to turn her hatred into love. The scene shifts to Kang-ho, who has to star in an action film where the characters have to do dangerous stunts. Unfortunately, Se-na is not physically fit enough to perform them, so they need a stunt double. Unfortunately, the stunt double had to take time off because she was pregnant. Then, he gives solution by asking Miran to take on the role temporarily, and she agrees. There, she does an excellent job, her acting is natural, and she is fully committed to the role. Her improvisations even inspire the director and are well received. At the location of a movie shooting, only a few people know that Miran and Kang-ho are secretly in a romantic relationship. They decided to keep it hidden so that others would not feel uncomfortable. However, when Miran becomes close with another stunt performer, Kang-ho gets jealous and reveals their relationship. Despite knowing that their relationship is just a pretense, Se-na feels uneasy seeing them together. She still hopes that he has feelings for her and tries to convince herself that their closeness is not real. As time passes, Miran learns that Se-na was Kang-ho's first love and they had a romantic relationship before. Miran, who often plays with people's feelings, realizes that Se-na still loves Kang-ho and wants to help them reconcile. She only pretended to be in a relationship with him to avoid scandal and revenge. She does not want to hurt another woman's feelings just for her own selfish interests. The next day, Wonjun expresses his regret to Na-yoon by inviting her to dinner. Initially, she believes that he is just trying to keep an eye on her. However, she discovers that Wonjun genuinely wants to make amends. Despite her reservations, Na-yoon is torn about her feelings towards him and tries her best not to fall for handsome men too easily. But with Wonjun's kind heart and sincerity, it becomes increasingly difficult for her to resist his charms. Meanwhile, while filming a movie, Kang-ho was tasked with the challenging wall climbing scene. However, the crew members who were supposed to pull him up using ropes were having issues. They almost fell down the stairs, but luckily, Miran noticed the problem and acted quickly to save them. Unfortunately, Miran ended up falling and injuring her shoulder in the process. Thankfully, Kang-ho and the crew members were safe, but the incident left everyone shaken and concerned for Miran's well-being. Shortly after, Kang-ho brought Miran to his house and told her about his past with Se-na. He let her rest in the room and while she was asleep, he confessed his love for her. However, Miran chose to remain silent and gave up on approaching him. Meanwhile, Na-yoon and Wonjun's relationship was getting closer. They had passed the initial stages of getting to know each other and both knew that they were single. But then, a woman named Grace contacted him and made Na-yoon misunderstand their relationship. It turned out that Grace liked Wonjun, but it was just a one-sided feeling. There, Na-yoon didn't want to risk getting hurt, so she quickly withdrew and closed her heart again when she misunderstood Grace's relationship with Wonjun. Initially, he had wanted to approach Na-yoon to help Kang-ho with his love affair with Miran, thinking that they could all go on double dates and other activities to strengthen their bond. However, after Na-yoon suddenly ended things with him, Wonjun was left feeling confused and irritated for some reason. One day, Miran, Na-yoon, Kang-ho, and Wonjun were all gathered in the same place. There, Na-yoon took the opportunity to talk privately with Kang-ho and shared the story of how she became friends with Miran. In the past, Miran had a handsome boyfriend who was popular with many people, including Na-yoon. Eventually, Na-yoon and the man started dating. At the time, she wasn't very close to Miran, but she felt extremely guilty when their relationship was exposed. However, Miran was nonchalant about the situation and didn't blame Na-yoon. It was her attitude that made Na-yoon start following her and become close friends with her. After conversing with Wonjun, Miran discovers the truth about Kang-ho's past, including how he became reliant on sedatives. This newfound knowledge enables her to realize that Kang-ho genuinely loves her and only he can provide her with comfort. Although he had previously made her heart skip a beat, it was not enough to thaw her icy demeanor demeanor towards men, including her patriarchal father. Growing up, Miran had experienced too many negative encounters with men, leading her to develop a distorted perspective on love. As a result, she had no qualms about manipulating other people's emotions. Despite her frustrations, her mother patiently endured Miran's oppressive husband while pouring her heart into a book that challenged the norms of a male-dominated society. In a bid to create a positive environment, her mother invites veteran actresses and Kang Ho to her home, knowing that her daughter shares a special bond with them. Fortunately, the two actresses agree to attend, much to her mother's delight. At this gathering, Kang Ho took the opportunity to express his sincere affection for Miran, telling her that he greatly respected her and learned so much from her. He went on to explain that Miran was the most amazing woman he had ever met, and he was genuinely drawn to her. Hearing these heartfelt words touched Miran's mother and siblings, who were amazed that their patriarchal father had never shown such admiration towards women. Overwhelmed with happiness, she wept tears of gratitude for Kang Ho's presence in their lives. With this newfound knowledge, Miran realized that Kang Ho was indeed serious about her, and the walls around her heart slowly began to crumble. As Miran embraces Kang Ho and allows him into her heart, she begins to realize the true meaning of love. She is surprised by how much she enjoys being spoiled by him, and he finds it amusing to tease her about her change in attitude. Meanwhile, Na-yoon, who has started seeing Won-jun more frequently since her best friend began dating Kang Ho, confesses her feelings to him at a cafe. However, despite her attraction to him, she chooses to distance herself from Won-jun, feeling that she is not good enough for him. She opens up about her past experiences with attractive men who have repeatedly let her down, revealing her deep-seated fears and insecurities. She hopes to avoid falling for him and asks him not to lead her on. There, Won-jun empathizes with Na-yoon's past trauma and understands that she is reluctant to open her heart again. He notices that Na-yoon is trying too hard to avoid being vulnerable, and he wants to help her move beyond her fears and insecurities. Meanwhile, as the film shooting comes to an end, Kang Ho forgets to take his medication before an intimate scene with Se-na, but to everyone's surprise, he manages to perform well without having a panic attack. This shows that he has successfully dealt with his trauma after finding true love with Miran. However, Kang Ho's relationship with Se-na is far from harmonious, and she eventually accepts that she has to give up on her idol. Despite the initial difficulty in accepting this, she doesn't hold a grudge and hopes that she can find the right man for herself. In the world of acting, it is not uncommon for Kang Ho to hurt the feelings of his female co-stars. This is partly because he didn't like women in the past and didn't even respect Soo Jin as a senior actress in the same agency. Nonetheless, his newfound love for Miran has changed him for the better, and he is no longer the same person he used to be. The next day, Kang Ho decides to throw a big party to thank Soo Jin, who helped him win the heart of Miran in the past. It turned out that she had always been trying to set up Kang Ho with Miran because she knew that Miran secretly liked him. And now, he wants to repay Soo Jin for her help. He even starts calling her Nuna as a sign of respect. Kang Ho invites many famous people to the party, including some who had hurt Soo Jin's feelings in the past. He hopes that the party can help mend Soo Jin's relationships with her colleagues. But unfortunately, her reputation has been tarnished due to a scandal, and none of the celebrities want to hang out with her anymore. So, Kang Ho and Miran try to cheer her up and make her feel better. At the party, everyone suddenly gets tense and starts staring at their phones. They are all shocked by the news they see about Miran. The news is spreading like wildfire, claiming that she's been involved with many men while dating Kang Ho. People start spreading rumors about her, saying that she's good at seducing men and having affairs. But these rumors are entirely untrue, and nobody really knows anything about her. Sadly, these rumors are causing the public to turn against her, and people are beginning to hate her. Hearing about the news, Na-yoon hurries to the party to pick up Miran. However, Won-jun's response to the situation makes her think that he only cares about Kang Ho's career and doesn't consider the impact on Miran. Nonetheless, he surprises her with his kindness and suggests that they all stay together to avoid any misunderstandings. Since Kang Ho's house was surrounded by reporters, they decided to go to Miran's apartment and try to come up with a plan to solve the problem. They tried to forget what had happened by drinking together. During this time, Na-yoon was deeply touched by Won-jun's concern for Miran, which made her realize that not all handsome men are bad, and she found herself falling in love with him even more. Sadly, Kang Ho's fans turned against Miran, thinking that she was not a good match for him. Moreover, bad news arrived from the film industry, and Kang Ho's latest movie couldn't be released due to public opinion. This made things even worse for Miran, and she decided to end her relationship with him. Nonetheless, Won-jun was there to support her and stand by her side. During that time, Won-jun was heartbroken when Miran ended her relationship with Kang Ho. He blamed himself for not being able to help her and felt guilty towards Na-yoon, whom he couldn't see anymore. One night, he decided to confess his feelings to Na-yoon, but unfortunately, she couldn't accept his love because he was leaving soon. Meanwhile, Kang-ho and Miran pretended to break up in public, but they were caught on a date together. This news quickly spread like wildfire on social media, and people were quick to judge Miran, labeling her as a cheap woman who liked to change partners. Despite all of this, Soo-jin remained by her side and supported her through thick and thin, even when they were gossiped about. In an attempt to clear the air and set things straight, Kang-ho organized a press conference where he revealed the truth about his relationship with Miran. He openly expressed his desire to marry her and apologized to his fans who may have been disappointed. To everyone's surprise, Miran arrived at the conference and publicly declared Kang-ho as the best man among all her ex-boyfriends. Despite her love for Kang-ho, she didn't want to put their careers and reputations at risk, so she chose to end their relationship. The separation between Na-yoon and Miran was truly heartbreaking, especially since Na-yoon saw Miran cry for the first time over Kang-ho. However, things took a turn for the better when the live broadcast was aired, as the public's opinion changed. Soon after, people started to view Miran in a positive light, as they admired her strength and independence. They even began to question the traditional belief that women should only date one man at a time, and instead praised Miran for dating multiple men in order to find the right partner. Meanwhile, feeling remorseful for ending things with Kang-ho, Miran took the initiative to contact him first. Upon Kang-ho's arrival at Miran's house, he put on an act of anger to avenge his broken heart, causing Miran to cry as she believed that she could no longer be with her beloved idol. However, everything turned out well in the end, resulting in a happy ending for everyone involved. As for Soo-jin, her divorce trial proceeded and the person who accused her of cheating was proven guilty. On another note, Kang-ho's movie was finally released, and everyone who contributed to the film gathered together for a viewing event to commemorate its release. At the end of the series, Won-jun publicly confessed his love for Na-yoon, and she accepted his confession. The series concludes with Kang-ho and Miran discussing their future wedding plans. The moral lesson of this series is that everyone has their own unique story of pain and sadness that shapes their life. Therefore, it's crucial not to judge others and to strive to understand their perspective. Sometimes, things that appear bad may not actually be bad, and life is not just about seeing but also listening and comprehending. We shouldn't let fear or low self-esteem hold us back from trying new things, as doubt can kill our dreams more than failure ever could. We should appreciate the people in our lives and not wait for a loss or separation to make us realize their value. Every second we spend with our loved ones is a precious gift that should be cherished. Another crucial moral of the series is to never let hate consume us. Even if there are people or situations that frustrate or anger us, we should try to find the good in everything and strive for inner peace. Hatred only serves to corrupt our hearts and minds, and it will not benefit anyone in the end. Therefore, it's essential to manage negative emotions wisely and always work on improving our relationships with others.